Alright, hey, I'm Aqua or Aquarius of Fallen Snow if you don't know me. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Happy to have you here again. So in this episode of the AQUA TALKS podcast, I'm going to be talking to a creator I found on Instagram. They go by Dekku.Lifestyle and they primarily talk about veganism. Last night we had a great conversation that I recorded, and I'd like to have more in the future talking about other subjects even, but I think this was a great place to start. So I'll say now, if you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and drop a comment of what you thought. Don't forget to subscribe to see more of my videos, and make sure to show love to Dekku on Instagram as well. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Yeah? What have you
How about
been
you?
working on?
Well, my day job.
Oh, fair. What do
Yeah.
you do?
Uh, I have a background in engineering. I work for this startup. It's like a battery startup. We basically just repurpose EV batteries and use them for grid scale energy storage.
Nice. Okay. So would that
Yeah.
be like the energy's going then to houses and neighborhoods?
Yep.
Damn,
Basically all these EV batteries power the city.
that's awesome. So they're actually getting
Yeah.
a function more than just the cars, right? Because that's part of the
Yeah.
problem. The problem with EVs, right? It's the batteries. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking about that post I saw you put up on Instagram talking about the
Yeah.
veil of ignorance, and I don't think I'd ever heard it before. Do you mind explaining it one more time so I got all the facts straight on it?
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I don't know too much. Like, I haven't done a deep dive on it. So I only know like the basic concepts, but my understanding is basically, and it makes sense. It's like you essentially, the veil of ignorance, like asks you to design a society that's fair and just in a way that if you don't know like who you're going to be, who you're like in this society, like who you will participate as, then you would presumably design it to be as fair as possible so that when you do enter the society, if you're one of those people that maybe is not as lucky, or like maybe you're disabled, maybe you're from a different culture, I think that's how it was formulated by the original author. Um, and in my video, I basically just take it one step further and say, if you don't know what species you're going to be born into, how would you design your society around that? And at our current rate, we slaughter around 80, the numbers change a bunch, but it's between 80 to 90 billion land animals per year, and then
Jeez.
it gets into the trillions when you include fish. So your odds of being an animal are very high compared to a human when you're playing this game of veil of ignorance.
Right.
So it really gets you to, I think, change your perception on how you would design it fairly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And one of the comments that I left on your post there was talking about animals because I think you're vegan, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And I don't know. I wish we didn't farm animals the way we did. I wish we didn't do monocrop agriculture either. Um, but I
Yeah.
wish we also looked at animals more as the indigenous people did, in terms of you only take what you need from the land. When you do, you thank the land, you realize, oh yeah, I'm taking something from this, it's important to it. And I
Yeah.
think it's a lot more personal connection with the animals and with the food, and that's we try to talk about that as farmers or as country people. I guess I'd call myself trying to stay local, be connected to your food, know where it comes from, and try not to support
Yeah.
the big businesses. But I don't know. I feel like us as humans, maybe we're also, I think we're designed to eat a variety of foods, right? Um,
Yeah.
I, I was wondering, like, where do you get the majority of your protein, if not from meat?
Yeah. Well, to answer the protein question first, I mean, a large portion definitely will come from soy, in various different forms. So, tofu, TVP, tempeh, um, and a lot of the mock meats are going to be soy based. Um, and then outside of that, I do protein shakes, which are usually like a pea protein. Um, and then I would say that's where the bulk of the protein would come from, or those, and also seitan is another big one. Seitan is one of my favorites. It is most meat-like, and I think the reason that is because the protein is so high. Like it's literally like a plant meat. When you make it a certain way, there's different ways you can make it. Um, but the texture and the taste and everything very closely mimics meat. And a lot of vegans, a lot of people get tripped up by that and don't understand why vegans would want to replicate a meat like substance if they're trying to get away from that. But it's just, it's not that we don't like the taste, or we didn't grow up like I grew up eating meat, and so I enjoyed it just as much as anyone else did. And so the thinking is, if you can have something match that very closely, and it doesn't involve an animal, well, that seems to be an obvious choice for me.
Hmm. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. That's that's one of the main reasons I guess personally I haven't converted to veganism is mostly because uh, I was thinking about, oh, where would I get my proteins from? It would probably be, yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of soy, uh, what's it, beans, mushrooms, stuff like that. But then I
yeah,
was also thinking about, I've heard arguments against veganism of people saying, oh, well, what about the, I guess in a panpsychism way, thinking about everything as conscious? What about the plants and them being alive? I was wondering what you think about that.
yeah. I think just at a high level, the scientific consensus is that plants are, while they are intelligent and they have various very interesting, like they're a very interesting life form. There's no denying that, right? They respond to stimuli. Like the classic example, what people like to anthropomorphize plants, and they'll say, "Oh, they're screaming when you cut into them," right? But that's giving human traits into a plant. It's not. It doesn't have vocal cords, right?
Right.
It's just emitting a signal based on some based on some stimuli that it's receiving, right? And so, like an example I like to give is like the thermostat in your house. It picks up the temperature change, right? And once the temperature is too high, well, it reacts to that stimuli. It sends an electrical signal to the HVAC system and tells the HVAC to turn on. But we don't sit there and say, "Oh, the thermostat is like a sentient being. Like, oh, we need to like, I can't yell at my thermostat or something."
And we're not torturing our AC when it's on, right? Like, oh,
Yeah, exactly. So
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, just to go a little further, so like sentience, that's the big thing that most vegans are gonna bring up, and frankly, I think most humans really think like vegans. They just don't realize it, but vegans are gonna value sentience and not place so much value on something that isn't sentient. And the reason is because if you're not sentient, then there's no wrongdoing. There's no well-being to be harmed, right? Like if I step on a concrete, I'm not smashing the concrete. The concrete isn't like yelling at me to stop stepping on him. There's nothing there. The plant, of course, is more advanced than concrete, but it's not. It doesn't have the central nervous system to process this. And I think even a step further, it would be very like cruel. I don't know if where you stand on like on belief in faith in God or something. um I personally am not like religious, but I believe in, like, I don't know, like a higher power, if you will, but
Mm-hmm.
like, it would be very cruel of a god to have designed plants to feel pain but not be able to do shit about it. Like, imagine if you could feel pain and you're just stuck there and you're just like, like, I can't fucking do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would be pretty horrific. So I don't, given all those things, I don't buy into the concept that plants are feeling pain.
Okay, I hear you. Um, yeah, and I think something like trees, in that scenario, they might not feel pain, but in the sense of when we start cutting down a lot of them, like the rainforest, then we start seeing the
Yeah.
effects on the planet because of the job they do in nature, right? It's not as much, yeah, it's not as much like a torturing of an animal. It's more, yeah, we're damaging the whole system, and
Ecosystem. Yeah.
absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I absolutely agree that, I don't really like the idea of hurting another creature, another person or animal, right? Um, and I think it also comes down to, ethics. And in our capitalist society, some people might not be able to find as many options. I think there are options out there, but they might not have the
Yeah.
ability to find them. Um, but what was I gonna say? About the meat. What was I gonna say? Sorry, I got a bunch
Oh,
of
you're fine.
stuff floating in my head.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's all good.
sorry, the ethics of it. Yes.
Yep.
Uh, um, a concept that I find really intriguing is moral objectivism versus moral subjectivism. So, are
Yeah.
morals objective in the world around us? Can we put concrete uh, uh, labels on things, or is it more based on the person in question? I feel like it is subjective, but when we can get to a societal point of saying, okay, we can all agree that killing an innocent person is completely wrong, it shouldn't happen, but then we look at the death penalty, is that a right punishment for someone who does a terrible crime, right? When it
Yeah.
comes down to animals, I don't think it's right how we farm them right now, but is there a more ethical way to do it that could be better in terms of the planet and the animal themselves? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's certainly, this is called welfareism, right? The welfare that you give to the animal, in the process of turning them into flesh or turning them into a consumable product, right? Um, and so, there, of course, there's better ways to treat somebody in, but I just disagree fundamentally, right? Because fundamentally, I think it's just wrong, and we shouldn't do it. Like, even if you were, let's say we developed like a pill, like a completely painless, they took a pill and then the next thing you know, they just never woke up, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't see it coming. They
Mm,
didn't experience it, right? But you're robbing that animal of the only thing that it really has, which is its own life, right?
right. I
And
see.
it's not signing up to do that. And and we're signing up these animals to do that on our behalf without asking them. I mean, obviously you can't talk to them, but you can kind of it's
I
fair.
don't
I think
think
it's pretty
any of
evident.
them would want that,
Yeah,
eh?
you're right. And it goes back to the veil of ignorance, right? If you were born one of them, I don't think you would want that either, even if it was super painless and it
Right.
took a pill and it was over. You would just prefer that was never an option anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And even thinking about something I've been trying to push in my content is egalitarian communism. So, no hierarchy, people choose what they want to do instead of being told what to do. But yeah, even just saying that, killing an innocent person, the example I gave before, the animals are
Yeah.
all innocent because they did nothing wrong. they help the world with composting material and whatnot. So yeah, it's in an egalitarian society, should we not give equal rights to an innocent animal as much as an innocent person? Right? It's that it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't have you don't have to it doesn't have to be necessarily equal rights. Like for instance, we're not going to say that a chicken would have the right to vote
Oh,
because
yes.
it can't conceptualize voting. So it just what I argue for is just basic like basic rights, which is like the right to life, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Absolutely.
most fundamental right.
Yes. And I think, yeah, it's the most important one. And then I'm sure
Yeah.
other people will take this conversation and go, oh, well, what about abortion and that kind of thing? Obviously, it's a whole nother conversation, but I made a video on, I guess, a philosopher or someone. I forget her name now. Joe. No, I can't remember it. But she made the example of what if somebody, what if you woke up from a coma and you were hooked up to a violin player and you were sustaining their life and people loved their music, but is it, is it right? Do you have the right to separate them from your body, ending their life because they're attached to you in terms of the abortion
Yeah.
argument? And she goes on to say
Yeah.
that yeah, the mother or the person sustaining somebody else's life should have the right to their body's autonomy, and they should have
Yeah.
that decision as much as the person's life they're sustaining. I think that is it's a difficult argument or a conversation to have as well. But I wonder what your thoughts on that are.
Yeah, it is a difficult conversation, and I don't have really well formed or like really, I guess, deep or hard opinions on it. But my view is that, I mean, I think society should not like what is it called? Oh man, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, should not incentivize abortions and should not like celebrate them, right? It should never be, and I don't think most people probably don't, right? But it should be, in my opinion, it should be a thing of like we should really try to limit it as much as possible. It should be somewhat frowned upon because yeah, I mean it's tough, right? Because then you get to the bodily autonomy side of it, and yeah, there's
It,
the whole arguments to be made there.
it's kind of
The whole situation is really really rough.
yeah, it's kind of
Um,
in an ideal situation, we wish that we could sustain as much life as possible, but then we also have to
yeah,
acknowledge that there are terrible things that happen in the world like sexual assault, and then if that leads to a pregnancy, the mother should have the right to
yeah,
say, hey, I wasn't ready for this, or I'm not in the financial state to take care of a kid.
yeah,
Then it's
yeah,
you have to weigh out the the two sides of it, right?
yeah. No, absolutely. And I guess just on that point, with respect to veganism, it's the numbers are. I mean, there's two very distinct differences between that. One, most abortions will happen pre-sentience, so like the baby, doesn't feel a thing,
Hmm.
doesn't know what happened, just nothing, it's like it never existed. So there's no like well-being infringement there. There's no well-being infringement, no
Mm-hmm.
suffering. And then two, the scale is also tremendously different. So I think in total there's about 100 million abortions, I think, globally per
Mm-hmm.
year, something like that, which is still a pretty big. I mean, that's a very big number.
Yeah.
Um, but that's like I think we might kill that many animals in one day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, and it's
So
the animal the animal thing, it's a lot more behind closed doors. Like they say, you don't want to see how the sausage is made, or you don't want to see glass walls on the slaughterhouse, right? Because that would
Yeah.
affect people. But yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
it is a different thing because the the abortion conversation is more one on one between the mother and the child or with the family, whereas talking about animals, it's on such a huge scale. People who go to McDonald's or whatever fast food restaurant, most of the time they're not even
Yeah.
thinking about what's going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes to get them that hamburger or whatever it is. And I think that's a really unfortunate part about our modern society, right?
Yeah. And I think it's by design, of course. It's a big brainwashing, in my opinion. It's propaganda, right? These the meat industry has a lot to gain from keeping the system going. They don't want to lose their profits. And so and then there's always the images of the happy cows, the happy pigs, which is really, yeah, I mean, imagine like using like the victim is becomes the marketing, like it's just kind of really
Yeah.
twisted where it's like as if they're willing and they want to do that. It's just
Right.
all backwards.
Oh, of course. And it happened since we're kids with the food pyramid talking about, oh, you want to get, pardon me, you want to get a certain amount of protein, and then they try to highlight red meat or milk or cheese, but less about the
Yeah.
mushrooms, the nuts, the beans, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's well, and I wonder what your thoughts are
Yeah.
about the capitalist system as a whole, because that's the same thing with
Yeah.
plastics and the oil industries. That's the reason we're still using so much plastic in everyday stuff is because the people making drilling the oil turn it into the plastic and they profit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a huge thing. I'm big on renewables. That's what I do for my work, like I was explaining earlier. I think solar power could definitely sustain human civilization, if we just produced enough of it and were able to distribute it properly.
Yes.
Um, so there's definitely lobbyists and people fighting against that, of course. Which, yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, just how much profits over everything, greed, right, and at the expense of, yeah, a lot of, at the expense of our environment, at the expense of human health, at the expense of animals. There's a huge cost in all of this, and it's just not being properly weighed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's sad that yeah, so many people do care more about the wage they make at their job and being able to sustain their life rather than trying to change the system as a whole so that they don't have to be, let's say, enslaved to their wages and their jobs. But, sorry, I feel like, yeah, it's part of the system to completely brainwash people as soon as possible. And I'm
Yeah.
Canadian. I'm wondering if there's anything you can think about because you're American, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there things that come to the top of your head that you realized in your life was kind of they were trying to brainwash you, maybe through school or
Yeah. I mean, I think, the education system is set up in a way to make, you know, uh, worker, like they just want, obedient workers, really. It's not really set up in a way to teach critical thinking,
yes,
and problem solving, right? And then the finances, like, why aren't there any classes on finance and like taxes? I mean, granted, I hate taxes, but um, it would, it'd have been helpful, I think, to have it, learn about that, and then just teaching people to be more, yeah, like kind of what, self-sufficient, like kind of what you're saying, to be local, like, support your community, like, become an entrepreneur, maybe do, coaching or whatever the service or thing that you're passionate about, kind of bringing back that ownership to yourself.
Yeah.
Um, what is ideal, but yeah, the system makes it really, really tough. Like it's really tough to get a business started. It's really competitive out there, and there's a
Oh,
lot of factors going against you.
yeah. And the monopolies purposely tried to stop the competition, whereas they always say in capitalism, oh, you have a free market, everybody has a chance. Now we're getting to the late
Yeah,
stage of it where there's not much chance if you're a small mom and pop shop, right? But
yeah,
yeah, like you said earlier, how more people might be vegan or have vegan traits than they realize. I think a lot of people also have a lot of traits of communism. I love that system of thinking because it tries to put the people first. You think about your community and the people over the profits. And if we could,
yeah,
yeah, get to self sufficient communities helping each other, less about
yeah,
nationalism, militarism, all that stuff,
yeah,
and then maybe a system like taxes would actually go to the right spots because we would
yeah,
be more in control of it, right? I'm wondering, what do you think
yeah.
of that?
Absolutely. I mean, if you have any resources on that, I'd definitely be interested. I haven't done a deep dive on that. I've always, the classic thing you hear is like, oh, communism never works, right? Like it sounds great
Yes.
in theory, but in practice, it ends up with genocide of a bunch of humans, right? So like,
Yes.
I'm sure there's definitely, obstacles and stuff to get around. But yeah, so I haven't done a deep dive on that. So if you have
Mm.
any resources, like I would be interested. Um, but I am mostly, I guess, a capitalist, and but I do think there could definitely be. It definitely seems imbalanced right now, and yeah, monopolies are making it harder, and lobbyists and regulations make it very difficult
Yeah.
for the mom and pop, for the average person to really exceed or succeed.
Right. Well, and even if we if we look at a nation that tries to mix communism and capitalism, we can see China currently not doing too bad on the world scale. They are competing with the current number one, which is the States. If we go from since World War II, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, I'd absolutely love to send you resources. I think it's one of those things that I hope a lot of our generation is waking up to and realizing there's a lot of propaganda, not only with what we eat, how we live, but then also our way of living in terms
yeah,
of capitalism versus communism. But I agree with
yeah,
what you're saying about the leaders. A lot of them end up being fascist or showing traits of fascism, like we see in the West. And I think it comes down to, yeah, the systems of power. If there are people that can take the power, usually they're going to take it and try to screw over the rest, right? The shit rolls downhill. Maybe that's more of an issue than capitalism or communism. It's just having people in power in
yeah,
general, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, yeah, I think I've heard something like it takes a certain person to get to that leadership anyways, so then they will, I mean, I don't know, you can have, I think, because there's plenty of brilliant leaders in, the vegan community, um and they don't end up being greedy or something, right? Like, so
Right.
I don't think it's a requirement of leadership to be greedy.
Yes. No, and I think movements like veganism or social movements, if we look at somebody like MLK or Malcolm X, they're not trying to go
Yeah,
for power. They're trying to, bring more equality to the world. And if they
Yeah.
had the opportunity to be in power, it's hard to say whether they would turn to greed and be blackmailed or something like that, or if they would stay true to their beliefs. But yeah, I think it
Yeah.
definitely depends. I think politics is super
Yeah.
toxic compared to social
Yeah.
movements, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you made a great point there. The blackmail is probably a big piece of it too. Yeah. I mean, what happens behind the scenes was probably a big influence on how people are acting.
Oh yeah, and I know Trump was that was one of his big selling points on his most recent campaign was, oh yeah, let's release the files. And now we see, oh,
Yeah.
they haven't been released. Why is that? Oh, probably a lot of blackmail and what's going on in the Middle East. I don't even want to say the name of the
Yeah.
country just in case, because they're always listening. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's terrible. But I hope that we can, yeah, create a better world, and it starts with conversations like this, right?
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah, I
is
agree, man.
is there anything else you want to add before we go?
I mean, yeah, just to touch up on some other earlier points, like yeah, the convenience aspect of veganism and how it's like certain areas are more vegan than others, and so it depends on kind of where you are geographically. It might make it easier or harder.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all very, like, I understand those concerns and those problems, and I hate them. Like, even where I live right now is not, I live in the desert, the outskirts of LA. It's like an hour north of LA.
Okay.
So, I am very close to LA where I can go, there on the weekends or whatever, and there's plenty of vegan variety out there. But when I'm out here in the desert, there really isn't much. Like there's not many vegan restaurants, or there's not any vegan restaurants really, and then there are the vegan options at restaurants are pretty few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully the grocery stores are more forgiving, but even recently the Walmart that I shop at, um they they got rid of the majority of their vegan section, the frozen food, the vegan meat section. It's almost all gone. They kept like one or two products out of like a whole freezer section. And I mean, and I see you, asking why, or saying why would they do that? Well, I think the problem is it's supply and demand, right? Because there are not enough people out there asking for those products. Like
Mm.
I was probably the only I was probably the only guy fucking eating those, like buying those. You know what I mean? There's probably other people, but like I never saw anyone in those freezer sections, right? So it just probably over time just didn't perform, and so they
Mm.
got rid of it. And so I guess the larger point here is like every person is very critical. Like I know it's not easy, and there's not many options, especially depending on where you live. But when you're voting every day with your dollar, and you're telling people what you want, and if there were more people like us asking for those options, then they would stick around, right? And then they would bring
Mm.
out more. And every new vegan makes it easier for the next vegan.
True.
So it's unfortunate that like right now it has to be a little bit difficult, but I think it's just you have to do the right thing, but obviously do what you can as well. Like if it's really really difficult for you to be vegan, 24/7, like it's still a lot better to do it maybe 3 days out of the week, 4 days out of the week, than not, right?
Yeah, it's a start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and have you done any looking into hydroponics?
Not much. I Yeah, it would be great. Like I think, yeah, if more people could, grow their own stuff, like I could probably. I definitely do need to look into that more.
Yeah. Because
I'd
if
be interested. But what do you know about it?
if you can get a small amount of water and you can order like fertilizer on Amazon or a local store would be even better. But if you can get a small amount of water and either you have big tubs like plastic totes or whatever you want to use, you can either grow stuff
Yeah.
just sitting in that, or you could do a system where the water flows with a small pump. And right now, my dad made one in his workshop there. We've got bok choy, spinach, dill, and lettuce growing on there. So it might be
Right
an
on.
option if you have a little bit of space. You might be able to make something like
Yeah.
that work. And if you can get more people around you doing it, then it builds that
Yeah.
community, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I would love to. Yeah. I would love to be growing my own stuff. I mean, I haven't gotten to that stage yet, but yeah, I mean, that might be the next stage in my yeah, evolution of like being self-sufficient.
Yeah. Oh, if you want any help with that, I would love to help you. And if you make content
Yeah.
of it, I'd love to support it even.
Yeah.
Because I think people
Awesome.
would
Yeah. Yeah.
love
Yeah.
to see
Please.
that. Sorry. I think people would love to see it, especially in the desert or like food drought area. Is that what they call it? Yeah.
Food desert.
Yeah. I think people would love to see that to help them as well, right?
Yeah. 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 No, it's a great idea. If you have any other resources on that too, I'd love to see some of that.
I got you. Oh, yeah. I'm about to
Yeah.
bombard you with hella info.
Hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, no, I just want to say thank you for pulling up and having a convo.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. This was good. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, because it's hard to find not only genuine people, but it's hard to find creators to collab with, especially being a small creator that I am. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I just appreciate it. It means the world.
Yeah. No, man. Yeah, I appreciate. I mean, I appreciate your interest in having me on. You know, because I'm also a small creator. So,
Yeah. But yeah,
yeah.
if you want to do this again sometime, we could even expand it into other topics. Or yeah, I'd love to have you
Yeah.
back on.
I think yeah, that could be yeah, that would be a good idea. I'll be down.